from the Incubation and Innovation Cell of DSC ASC. We have with us Dr. Lakshmi Jagannathan, who is a veteran and now currently the CEO of Derby Foundation. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. Lakshmi, ma'am. Very warm welcome. Thank you so much. And welcome to all the faculty members, all the students of DSC ASC. It's a matter of privilege that we are having this talk today on innovation and incubation. Some of you would be aware that Derby is our in-house incubation cell, in fact, incubation center, which is fairly autonomous. It has its own CEO and its own managerial setup. They are based out of Campus 3 and at Kudlu Gate. And we are privileged to have us to listen to Dr. Lakshmi Jagannathan, who will enlighten us on what they're doing, how they're doing, and what's in it for our students and the faculty also from the knowledge perspective. I would hand over now to Professor Gurunath sir, who is in charge of IQAC cell of Dayanand Sagar Institutions, to give a brief introduction, and then we will start the session. Over to you, Professor Gurunath.
Thank you very much, sir. I am audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, madam. Good afternoon, everyone. I, Gurunath, IQAC coordinator, Dayanand Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, and hearty welcome to all the participants for the webinar on kickoff your startup from campus and organized by Incubation and Innovation Cell. Incubation and Innovation Cell aspires to be the launch pad to encourage students in emerging as innovators with breakthrough ideas and successful entrepreneurs through effective collaboration of faculty, researchers, and industry experts. In that context, this webinar will be much meaningful. The resource persons for today's webinar, Dr. Lakshmi Jagannathan, Chief Executive Officer at Derby Foundation. Madam, playing a strategic role in driving the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem at DSI. A principal investigator for funded projects for more than rupees 10 crores funded by Government of India and Government of Karnataka. Established and managing Derby Foundation, a Section 8 company, which is a technology business incubator supported by Government of India, a startup evangelist and passionate mentor who is very well networked with all key players of the startup ecosystem, a firm believer who is relentlessly pursuing to transform campuses into platform of innovation and entrepreneurships. And I also welcome our principal, Dr. Nagaraj Chennai, Mrs. Bhavani, Community Manager, Derby Foundation, Dr. Shalini Suresh, and Professor Colonel Prasann Kumar and other members, faculty and students. And I am sure that this webinar to be meaningful, thought-provoking, and useful to all the participants. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity to welcome everyone. Thank you very much, sir.
Over to you, Lakshmi ma'am. We can start the session now. After Dr. Lakshmi's talk, we will open the house for the question answer sessions, and the attendees who have any questions may like to make note of it, and we will not interrupt in between. We will keep our questions towards the end, and then we will have a question answer session towards the end. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor Prasanna. It's my pleasure being here. I'll just share my screen. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you all. In fact, it's really nostalgic because the genesis of Derby Foundation started off in the Dayanand Sagar main campus about, I would say, 10, 12 years back. Precisely started off with the MBA department, so all the more nostalgic about being here, right? Now, today, probably in the rest of 50 minutes, what we have, I would love to probably talk about half an hour of what we have done so far, and probably reserve more time for the interactions, especially with the students and faculty who would have ideas and who probably want to engage with us going forward. Now, today's talk is about kick off your startup from the campus. People who regularly read Economic Times, Business Line, any of these newspapers, you would have seen the collage which is there in the background. Everyday news. I think most of these newspapers now reserve 2 or 3 pages of the newspapers for startup news. It's about innovative startups, covering startup stories, where startups have raised money, raised VC funding, things like that. So startup, anything to do with startup is very hot, is there in the news every day. And it's also off late becoming a fad, especially for the youth to have a startup. In fact, yesterday I was talking to one of the startup whom I've been mentoring, who was a part of the DSI quite some time back. He got married recently. My first question was, oh, very good, Sachin. So you've finally been able to find a girl whom you've got married. Because earlier days, even getting married was difficult if you had a startup. But it is not so now. I mean, people have accepted that startup industry is also emerging to be another vertical to be accepted. And I would love to start with 2 stories. Both these stories, the first story is of Shanmuga, who is the CEO of a company called Grasp.io. He first started a company called Botrio Labs with a 6-member team and a few part-time consultants. They were more into robotic training and robotic kits for multiple school children. And the company is now close to about 6 years old. And now he started off with Botrio Labs, and now he has another company called Grasp.io. And he started his company, basically he used to present his business plan in multiple college events, business plan contests, used to win substantial prize money, 50,000 rupees, 1 lakh, that sort. Collected all the prize money and then started his company called Botrio Labs. Now today his company is in Basaveshwar Nagar with about 20-member team. And he has presence, I think, in 4 or 5 countries. That is Botrio Labs. Second company I want to talk about is a company called Geek Synergy, which is founded by a person called Sachin Anchan. Sachin did his MTech in medical electronics, started off Geek Synergy, broadly as a company to, if I remember right, I think initial days when we were talking to them, they were building a customized solution for weavers. And starting from that, yesterday with the person whom I was mentioning just now was Sachin. Yesterday he was mentioning that now they are into multiple industries. They're working with some agriculture, some water-based solutions and all that. Now both these two, both have been featured in good newspapers, have got wide publicity. Both of them have been Dayanand Sagar students. And I've known both Shanmuga and Sachin from their early student days. I've mentored them. Both have been very, very soft-spoken, more of an introvert student, hardly used to communicate with people. And today they are very well-established entrepreneurs, winning awards, doing very well. And both the companies, I think, have already crossed a couple of crores of revenue. The reason I put this slide is to throw the point that the earlier slide, you would always say, yeah, there are startups, there are news articles, but all those are people outside. What in Dayanand Sagar? Now, these have been your seniors, your own fellow colleagues at Dayanand Sagar who've done this, who've achieved, right? So if they can do, you can also do. Now, why kick off from the campus? First one is, why should somebody start a startup from the campus? When you build a startup, there are a lot of experience the student or the entrepreneur gains by building a startup. Number one, you really gain a hands-on experience of how a startup company works. I'm not talking about the incorporation part of registering a company. No, when you're putting together a team, 2 or 3 of you, starting a company, going out, meeting customers, trying to sell something, that itself is a huge experience in terms of what you're trying to do. And when you're doing this, you also learn multiple other things. Your knowledge horizon also widens in terms of knowledge about the product, the market, how to talk to somebody, how to make a convincing presentation, how to sell your idea, how to pitch your idea, and a whole lot of things. And of course, when you're doing this, you also learn to work as a team. In fact, it is proven data that many startups who fall apart, the primary reason is the crack within the teams. So teamwork, essentially learning to work as teams, is a very good experience you learn while building and managing your startup. Of course, if you are building a startup, there's no other better campus than the Anand Sagar. Because at the Anand Sagar, somebody who's building a tech company can also get somebody with the management experience. Somebody who's building a manager experience can also get a tech co-founder, get marketing expertise and a whole lot of expertise. So when you're building a startup, you also have a cross-functional expertise which you can leverage and you learn to work as a team. Second one is, now, assuming you do a startup on the campus, you build your campus company and say you want to move forward with the placement on the campus. There are many corporate organizations today who are looking at grooming entrepreneurs. Now, entrepreneurs are like entrepreneurs, but working within an organization to solve probably their own problem or to identify a specific vertical in which the company can diversify or expand their product portfolio. So these companies like this, you will get a lot of brownie points or a lot of value add if you say, I had this experience of building a startup company on the campus. Now today, no longer your marks or grades are a big criteria for recruitment. It is all the skill set what you have. So I would request all of you to please mute your mics, please. Next one is, now with respect to government initiatives, I think last 10 years, I would say the support that government is providing for somebody who wants to be a startup is phenomenal. Starting from, you can say, ideation stage, you have an idea, you want to build a proof of concept, you want to develop a prototype, you want to register a company, you want to file a patent, you want seed fund, you are looking at raising series funds. Everywhere there is a government support end to end, from, say, I would say from idea to commercialization. So that is a good value add which people around, which startups around should leverage. As far as regulatory bodies are there, starting from AICTE to MHRD to your innovation council, this especially for faculty. Everybody has now mandated certain points to be maintained to get your ranking, or which reflects the support you're providing for students to become entrepreneurs. And of course, there are other multiple initiatives from the government called Startup India, Stand Up India, and there are a whole lot of technology business incubators which have been established all across the country to support entrepreneurs. And if you see the TBI scenario, TBI stands for Technology Business Incubators. There are close to around, I would say probably around 500 to 600 technology business incubators in the country, supported from multiple departments, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, the NITI Aayog, whole lot of them. Apart from that, every state government also has incubation centers for supporting entrepreneurs. 95% of these incubators are all in academic campuses. Why are they in academic campuses? The primary reason they are in academic campuses are how much ever a seasoned mind thinks. Nothing to beat the thinking of an young student, young innovator on the campus. If you see elsewhere in the world, be it US or elsewhere in the world or Israel, most of the innovations have come from young guys who have been from the campus. Starting from Apple to Facebook, everything is a campus innovation, right? Now, how to go about? Now, many of you here, some of you here may have an idea to start a company. Some of you are not yet ready, but you want to still dabble out, find out something, what you could do, get your hands dirty, try to figure out what does it mean by trying to build a company, what does it mean by ideation and all those. So for all of you all, I think few tips from my side would be, number one, participate in as many events as possible. A lot of universities, campuses, corporates, all of them conduct hackathons. Even governments conduct hackathons. Many of these hackathons are theme-based. See, again, hackathon, some of you here are not from the engineering background or not from the technical background. You may feel that I'm not from the technical background. How do I participate in a hackathon? See, hackathon, there could be hackathons which are non-technical in nature. There could be business model hackathons, number one. Or most of the hackathons need a cross-functional team to participate. That is how you could probably get a co-participant and be a part of these hackathons. participate in many of the B plan competitions. Most of the B schools or most of the entrepreneurship summit organize what is called a B plan competition. Business plan competition is more of a hypothetical competition. Some of them may be real. Most of them are hypothetical, where you assume this is my company I'm going to launch, this is my idea, and this is the business plan for that company, and you make a presentation. Here again, it's a very good vetting ground to validate your idea, see how far the idea works, because most of the jury typically in these business plan competition are people expert from the ecosystem. So it will help you guys to understand whether my idea would work or will it work or how I need to pivot. The baseline, at least, if not anything, you would at least come back with good prize money and good recognition. In fact, earlier I shared the example of Shanmuga. I think Shanmuga is an entrepreneur today, thanks to all the business plan competitions he participated and won. The next one is entrepreneurship events. There are multiple entrepreneurship events, typically organized by starting from smaller colleges to big institutions. For example, IIT Mumbai does an annual big mega entrepreneurship fest. Similarly, IIT Kharagpur does a big annual entrepreneurship event where there are host of events, starting from entrepreneurship quiz to seminars, to hacking, to multiple things are done. So participate in those events. Of course, there are multiple courses and workshops specifically for entrepreneurship. Any of you are interested, we could organize that also for you from Derby Foundation. Now, you also have your Udemy, Coursera, a lot of those online platforms. There are many free courses also if you're interested on learning about entrepreneurship and innovation. That is one part. Second part is you can also engage as an intern with startups. See, most of these startup companies whom we have seen have big dreams, big vision of what they want to do, but most of them start with an empty pocket. They do not have money, they do not have manpower. So most of them, I think the big value proposition which Dayanasagar can offer to them is in terms of engaging their students as interns with these companies. So there's a phenomenal learning, especially when you learn with a startup, because starting from understanding how does a corporate culture work to really delivering to multiple things, there's a phenomenal learning for you when you intern with a startup. And some of these startups can also offer you a chunk of their work as a mini project, which could be a value add. Again, a bit of caution here, do not align your mini project to do with startups to your academic project. If a startup offers you project today, you should not say, no, my project is only 2 semesters from now, I will come back to you later. It doesn't work that way. The most important thing is, the third one is start a company while on the campus. See, when you're on the campus, you are, I think, in a very, very sweet spot. You have the campus, mentors who are there, no risk, absolutely no risk. And generally, I've been seeing this university academic system last close to about 2 decades now, especially the semester scheme. Most of the university syllabus, what happens is the 6 months of the university semester, I think 1 or 1.5 months is where you really get to read for the exam. The balance of 4 to 4.5 months can be really put to good use by doing some constructive work with respect to your career on the campus. So when you start a company on the campus, the advantages are, especially if you work on a pre-incubation or an incubation program associated with any incubator on the campus. Number one, it's a very good opportunity for you to validate your idea. You have an idea, we'll help you build a business model. You yourself can know whether your idea would work, or should I pivot, should I change, or drop your idea. Number two, it will also give you a very good experience of how to start a company and run the company on the campus, how to get customers, how to offer this value add to your customers. If not anything, it will be a great value add to your CV when you probably go to meet your prospective employers at a future point of time. And you would also be very productively engaged on the campus. Again, I will go back to the example of Shanmuga. See, when Shanmuga was there on the campus, we used to do a lot of events, around entrepreneurship. See, when running an entrepreneurship cell on the campus, we used to do events, which is some are more of a hype. Could be, say, programs like CEO Connect, which are more of inspirational in nature. But the Shanmuga never used to come to any of these programs, because I think from his second semester or second year of engineering, he was busy running his company. Because, and this, any entrepreneurship initiative on the campus also gives you an excuse to be productively engaged to doing something for your own self, which may fructify few years down the line. And when you work on the campus, you'll have to, you will also get the benefit of working with a mentor who would probably tell you, give you confidence. See, I think one thing what we have seen in most of the student ideas is somebody who can really boost your confidence, saying, this is very good, please go ahead. So that can happen if you engage with a mentor on the campus. Now, having said that, who is a mentor? Not everybody can be a mentor. See, mentor is somebody who has to be a positive role model for the would-be entrepreneur. Entrepreneur could be the student or could be anybody who wants to be a entrepreneur. The person has to be a positive role model who achieved something to be able to motivate the person who wants to become an entrepreneur. Mentor has to be a friend, a coach, and an advisor who does not mince words to tell the would-be entrepreneur, saying what would work, what would not work, what has to change. And also build the self-esteem in terms of giving them confidence and enabling things to happen. Could be a career counselor and an strong advocate of entrepreneurship, right? Now, these are the typical students' barriers which we have seen when students want to become entrepreneurs on the campus. The first one is he or she may not have the confidence about the idea itself. Is the idea good? Can I talk to somebody? Should I talk to somebody or should I not talk? What if they laugh at me? No idea is good or bad. All ideas are good. So never hesitate about your idea, what you have in mind, till you validate the idea and pivot it or probably tweak it to suit what the market wants. Number two, most of the students have an apprehension that what if somebody copies my idea? Should I share it with somebody or not? This is one big fear everybody has. Now, if your idea is so easily copyable, then anybody can start the business even after you start, right? Unless there is a real strong IP and patent which you're going to file. If it is such a low barrier to entry that anybody can copy, then your idea is not worth pursuing. So as far as possible, discuss your idea with everybody and take their inputs. And any entrepreneur, I would always say entrepreneurship is a marathon. It is not a 100-meter dash. Somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur has to really, really have the stamina for the long haul, right? So never hesitate sharing your idea with anybody, be it faculty, be it your classmates, students, or anybody. You should use maximum number of people to be your sounding board to sound your ideas. The third one is alone. So I am alone. Should I start it alone? Should I get somebody? Again, here I've seen conflicting views. For example, there are many guys who are very, very strong in their idea. It's their idea, their value prop, their money, they want to put in and start. So should I start alone or should I go to co-founder? This is also another question which many of them face. If a co-founder is not required for the time being, probably you can do it alone and get another person at a later point of time. But if it needs complementary skills or somebody to complement what you're doing, you should probably tag along somebody to join you. And again, the campus is the best place to identify somebody who could probably be a co-founder or help you to found a company. The next point is, am I too young to start? See, some of them have this mindset that probably I should start the company, work somewhere 15, 20 years and then start a company. Maybe yes, may not be no, right? Age is not a barrier for starting a company. That is definitely yes. Age is not also a criteria to decide whether you should do or not. I don't know how many of you know there's a person called Suhas Gopinath. I think he has come to our campus multiple times. We also know him pretty well. Suhas started his company when he was 16 years old. And he was identified at that point of time to be the youngest entrepreneur in the world. Right? So it's never too young to start. But because another reason also why you should start is the idea what you have and the opportunity what you see in the market is not an everlasting one. So any opportunity, the window of opportunity is open only for a certain short span of time. So you should encash when the opportunity is there. The last thing is I have no experience in having a startup. How will I run? No problems. That is the reason why there are institutions like incubators which are there, so that we give you the right mentorship and help you to judiciously run or get your startup off the ground. Now, having said that, so what are the challenges for campus entrepreneurs? So finally, you take a call and you say, yes, I will start my company. I have this idea. How do I go about it? So the first challenge for any campus entrepreneur is a validation of the idea itself. So will my idea work? Should it be a product? Should it be a service? How much should I charge? Who will be my customer? How much will he pay? How to attract my customers? How much will they pay? How to do my costing? Should I outsource? What should I do in-house? There are lots and lots of questions, right? About the business model itself, and primarily also about the idea itself. The second one is, how do I convert the idea to a proof of concept? Proof of concept is a simple exercise to demonstrate that your idea works, right? So it could be a technical idea, it could be an e-commerce platform, could be a non-technical idea, any idea you have, right? Unless you demonstrate that the idea works, that the idea can be a commercially viable venture, nobody is going to take you seriously. So evaluating or validating this idea to a makeable proposition is what is called a POC. Third one is funding to initiate and sustain. Having said that, where will I get money? Who is going to fund? This again has two faces to the coin. Depending on what money you need. For example, I had met a couple of students few years back. They said, I want to do this. For doing this, I will probably need about 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. So I'm still waiting for somebody who can give this money so that I can try. That is absolutely ridiculous, right? Today, all of you, when you go to a mall or you celebrate your birthday party, you at least spend about 10 to 15,000 rupees on the flight. If you have so much of conviction in your own idea, you should not probably expect a very, very small amount from somebody to test your idea. That means if you yourself are not ready to take risk in your idea, then how can you expect somebody else to do, right? But as you do this, as you scale up, there are a lot of avenues for getting funding and to sustain your idea and also the enterprise. Now, what is the strategy? How do I do? How do I plan? Again, the same points of what I said on the business model canvas and the strategy itself. Where will I get guidance on legal issues? Should I incorporate a company? Should it be a proprietorship company or a partnership company or a LLP or a private limited? Or should I incorporate a company at all? Who's going to help me with this? Or when should I incorporate? What will be the cost involved? Right? So all these are multiple questions which keep cropping up at the top of your mind and probably puts off many of you from not initiating a company. And how will I get a mentor to depend on? See, most of you guys are probably, I'm sure all of you would be less than 25, right? In the age bracket of about 18, 19 to 23, 24. Not very, I would say, experienced. So you would probably need a dependable mentor who could probably guide you and hold your hand till you stabilize with respect to your company. Typically, this is what is called a startup ecosystem, right? So startup ecosystem has today, I mean, if you see, I think India is third in the world in terms of a thriving startup ecosystem after Silicon Valley and China, right? And Bangalore is tipped to be the startup hub of the country. Now, typically, a startup ecosystem will consider of all these entities in the ecosystem. Number one, you have support organizations, be it financial, be it non-financial. Then you have big companies, big corporates who also look at supporting startups for multiple reasons. Now, for example, there could be multiple, see, when you compare a corporate to a startup, corporates are typically like elephants. Startups are typically like, could be an ant, right? Which are very agile, very fast moving. It is very difficult to move elephants. If corporates want to innovate, there's a huge cost involved in what they should do and money involved and changes they have to bring about. So that way, a lot of corporates also look for startup companies who are very small, very agile, very adaptable to change, and see how they could foster or take over, support them in innovation, whatever they are doing. Of course, there are support organizations starting from financial to patenting to multiple them. Then there are universities, which are the rock bed of innovations. Then there are funding organizations, service providers, be it technology or non-technology, who give them support, research organizations. So there are a whole lot of people around you, if you want to be a startup, who can help you, guide you, and take you through. Now, I will probably dwell more on the incubation as an ecosystem as compared to any of these other things which are there. Now, when we talk about role of an incubator, see, the role of an incubator is basically to give confidence in the startup, saying, yeah, you have an idea, please come. We will see whether how your idea would work, what would be the business model. We can probably help you in building your proof of concept, help you to get a right mentor, sometimes also probably help you to build a solution also, and then see whether you could, and sometimes also we help startups get the customers as well. So if you can see this circle here, all these are what a typical an incubator setup provides, starting from mentoring to technical assistance or technology mentoring, managing of your intellectual property rights, whether you have a solution which could be patented or could be copyrighted, how to manage that, how to file a patent, how to market your idea, how to market your company, how to maintain your book of accounts. When you have a startup, you know how to maintain your book of accounts. Most important is the networking, connect you to the who's who in the ecosystem. Could be for your technology, could be for raising money, could be for investors, could be for market, could be for potential customers, right? And most of the incubators today have a very, very inexpensive co-working space. So the workspace, what they give is also co-shared by many other startups like you who are a part of the ecosystem. So whether it is your internet or your electricity or your physical infrastructure or your meeting rooms, all these is a shared operational cost. So today running and managing a startup cost is much, much lower than taking your place somewhere outside and being on your own. And most important thing is incubators also give support to startups for seed funding. Seed funding is the initial, see, as you know, right? A plant or a tree grows from a seed. So the genesis of the tree is from the seed. Similarly, the genesis of a good organization, a huge organization, is the initial seed grant, which goes into the company. So some incubators also provide a seed fund for the startups and also connect them to a lot of angel investors and venture capitalists who may be able to invest much more when the startup needs. I think one of your professors mentioned that Derby is the in-house incubator at Dayanand Sagar. Yes, so we are the incubator at Dayanand Sagar. And what does Derby do? See, this is a quick story of what is Derby and what do we do. In fact, again, as I started in the beginning, our genesis of the Derby started in 2009, about 11 years back, at the MBA department of Dayanand Sagar, where we started an entrepreneurship cell to facilitate, to support more students, encourage more students to become entrepreneurs, number one. Number two, also increase the employability chance of MBA students on the campus. That was the reason, to be very frank, where we started an entrepreneurship cell. In fact, Mr. Sadanand Maya, who's chairman of Maya Foods, came. He inaugurated the entrepreneurship cell. So starting from 2009, we've been doing series of events, programs, 2009 to 2012. We did multiple programs, more so for encouraging our own students, invited entrepreneurs on the campus and things like that. 2012, but 2011, we realized that if it has to sustain, there has to be government grants which come in. See, to run an entrepreneurship cell in a campus, who's going to give you money? Whether you call speakers, you run contests, you have to give prize money, you have to do marketing, you have to print brochures, you have to give honorarium to the speakers, you have to give money to the judges. Who's going to give you money? So there is a cost involved in running an entrepreneurship cell. So what I did was, I think 2010-11, I realized this upfront and started identifying whether there are any government agencies who could support us in setting up entrepreneurship cells. Fortunately, DST had a program. DST is a Department of Science and Technology. They had a program called IEDC, Innovation Entrepreneurship Development Cell, where they support setting up an entrepreneurship cell. We could support up to 5 students every year to build an idea, to take an idea from the idea to the prototype stage. So we worked with about 5 students every year for 4 years. And these are the pictures which you see. I'm sorry for the font size because this is what I could fix into this particular slide. And these are some of the prototypes which some of the students on the campus built. So, and fortunately, we were able to see, though the money to run IEDC was very, very small, because we were able to get about 8 lakhs per year. 5 lakhs used to go for running the students' programs. The balance 3 lakhs was used to run the entire IEDC for 1 year. So it was not actually big money. But even then, what I would say is a lot of corporates are interested even today to engage with students, to mentor them, to support them and give back, right? Now, so we used to engage with a lot of corporate mentors to mentor these student entrepreneurs. So DST was very happy the way we were running this program, and they encouraged us to apply for a technology business incubation program. And 2014 is where I wrote the proposal, and 2015 is where we got the sanction from DST to become an incubator. Now, to be very frank, see, 2015, I was not even 2014 precisely. I was not even knowing what does a TBI stand for, a technology business incubator stand for. So it's been a very, very steep learning in terms of understanding what is an incubation, how does it sustain. Now I'm running a Section 8 company, a not-for-profit company, which is registered with the Registrar of Companies, which is ROC. We take equity in startups, invest in startups. There's a huge lot of learning which happens here, right? Then 2016, we got the TBI grant for 5 years, which is 3.1 crore. 2017, we also got multiple grants. I think I should have also added another milestone of 2020. See, cumulatively, if you add till now, I think we have raised grants of about 20 crores for innovation entrepreneurship activities in Dayanand Sagar. See here, I'm not trying to boast what I've done. I think the message here is, if you have to do, you have to do, right? There's no other go. I mean, and take 100% commitment for what you want to do. See, at some point of time, I also had to take a call because I was running the MBA program, a very, very comfortable job, managing the department, managing the timetable, allotting faculty subjects, which was much, much easier than running an incubator today. Incubator, you have to deal with multiple stakeholders, deal with startups, deal with government, deal with ROC, make returns, file the returns, a lot of things, right? So that is a huge risk. So as entrepreneurs, when you want to take risk, you should take that forward and then go ahead. I think I should here probably say that this, I definitely owe my credit to Dayanand Sagar, because the vice chairman support and the chairman support and the freedom they gave to register the company and run it, I think that has to be applauded. In fact, today people say that Derby is probably, I think one of the professors, when they introduced, they said this is an independent entity. It is independent primarily because it is a Section 8 company. And number two, it has a mandate from the government that it has to be an independent entity at an arm's length from the institution to work. Now, what is it we do at Derby Foundation? Now, as I told you, this is a timeline of what we've been doing. See, starting from supporting startups, and what we have been doing is we've been supporting primarily, see, our strength of Derby Foundation has been our board. See, we have a fantastic, one of the best advisory boards in the country. The who's who in the ecosystem, be it corporates, be it investors, all of them are on a board. So from their mandate, we took a conscious decision that we will support all startups from the ecosystem and also mature startups from the campus. Now, today, any of you have a traction, want our support, we are there. And what we've been doing is we've been getting multiple support programs from the government, and each program from the government has a mandate which has to be satisfied. For example, if you take Nidhi SSS. Now, Nidhi SSS is a seed fund given to startup which has to be incubated in Derby Foundation for a minimum period of 3 months. Then this year we launched a Nidhi Prayas program. Nidhi Prayas program again is a program where it is an idea to POC. Somebody has an idea, we will give 10 lakhs to somebody to build a prototype for the idea what they have. Another program now where applications we are still looking for is a Nidhi EIR program. EIR is a fellowship given to potential entrepreneurs, somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur. Today, Government of India is ready to give them a fellowship, a honorarium of 30,000 rupees a month for 1 year, you can take it as a honorarium or salary, whatever, so that you can build your company and at the end of 1 year, probably register a company and take it through. And what is our impact so far? So what have we done so far? So at Derby Foundation, I think we have reached out about 1,550 entrepreneurs pan-India. In fact, some of our programs, we've also got entrepreneurs from IITs, specifically IIT Delhi and IIT Chennai. Then organized about 55 plus innovation talks, conducted so many workshops, and encompassed about 800 plus mentoring hours. 140 plus startups have pitched for our programs, and 87 startups have pitched for our funds, and 9 startups I think we have invested out of the 87. And this what is 9 startups we have invested out of these 87. And the grant what we have offered is above 1 crore for these startups, and engaged about 162 experts. I mean, a whole lot of numbers, in terms of what is the impact we have created. And you want to know more about us, you can always visit our website. This is our website, derbyfoundation.com. Yeah, thank you so much. Now I'm open for questions.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful talk. I think this was really wonderful and very, very informative, very detailed, yet very crisp. You were direct to the point and very, very precise in your deliberations. So students, I'm sure you would have benefited, and now the house is open. I would request people to unmute themselves one by one and ask your questions to Dr. Lakshmi. Please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, students, faculty, anyone who has a query, please go ahead and ask. I think there was some disconnection at the campus here in building number 6, internet issue. So some of our faculties are offline today. I have again re-logged in from my mobile phone. But students, I'm sure, are online. So please go ahead, students. Anyone has any queries, would like to ask ma'am, if you have some questions to ask for your future plans, etc., you can ask.
Sir, this is Sabyasachi from the Department of MCA, BU. I have a question for ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, you spoke about government funding. If there is any idea about like startup and all, there was a honorary amount that government would fund for a year.
Correct.
Can you please elaborate a bit more?
Yeah, sure. See, there's a program by Government of India, especially the Department of Science and Technology, called EIR, Entrepreneur in Residence. Of course, I mean, every government program also has its own, I would say, criteria to be defined. But this for EIR program, the criteria is it should be somebody with a technical background, because it is from Department of Science and Technology. So you should have completed an engineering or a BSc, BCA, or some science background with at least 2 years of experience to be eligible for this program. Number one. Number two, though we say it's a fellowship, it has to be done full time. You cannot say I'm a student or somebody who's studying somewhere, or a faculty teaching somewhere and want to be an entrepreneur. Such people will not be eligible for this. So it's a full-time fellowship given to somebody who wants to be a startup. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. So what exactly is the scheme? Like, can you give me a name or something so that I can?
No, it is called
look for it?
EIR. See, it is called Entrepreneur in Residence. It is called Nidhi EIR, NIDHI EIR. Okay. Now, see, again, no, every incubator, for example, Derby Foundation can support up to 10 such startups every year. Out of these, 5 are general merit category and 5 government has reserved for SC/ST candidates. So reservation categories. So if anybody wants to have, and these also another important criteria here is somebody who already has a startup, who already has registered a company is not eligible, obviously, right? Because it is for potential entrepreneurs.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it is. I think you can also see in our website, it is there. I mean, derbyfoundation.com, the details are there. It is called Nidhi EIR, Entrepreneur in Residence.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, anybody else who has a question, please ask.
Professor, till some questions come, hopefully, I would like to understand what is the kind of entrepreneurship activities which are done in your college now?
So, ma'am, incubation wise, there is none that is getting incubated as of now from our
Okay.
college. However, we do have workshops or one-day programs or half-day programs that the faculty conduct, or sometimes an outside industry resource is called for to conduct a program. Something
Okay.
on innovation. Sometimes it is on just giving them some idea about what is incubation all about. But I
Okay.
think what you have covered today is quite comprehensive, especially from the Derby perspective. It's quite comprehensive. So that will be beneficial. I'm sure now we will see some more motivated young men and women coming forward from our courses, especially those who are in MBA courses or master's level courses, who are coming forward and trying to join the new entrepreneurship bandwagon. So let's see.
Sure. No, another thing
Since
probably
there
you
are
could
no more-
also do is you could also look at just throwing open an ideas challenge across your college. Saying, do you have an idea? You want to have a startup? You can ask them to submit a half a page summary, because beyond half a page, students would not be able to articulate and write it.
Yes.
Because I'm sure even in this audience, there would be many students who are not willing to open out and talk. So if you throw out something like that, probably there could be ideas, there could be students who wanting to start something who would come out.
We can have an idea challenge, and
Yeah.
that will throw up some good views. Yeah, that's a good point, ma'am. We'll do that.
In fact,
Sure.
we can help you structure it or filter it and mentor some of these guys also. We can support you as well. No problems.
Yes, yes. That's nice of you, ma'am. Thank you for the offer. And we will definitely, the next activity will be idea challenge. I'm sure
Sure,
Shalini
sure.
ma'am is here and she's listening. She's in charge of the cell, and
Okay.
I'm a member in that cell as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We will do that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, ladies
Sure,
and
sir.
gentlemen? Right, since there are no more questions, Dr. Shalini Suresh to join us, unmute herself, and take it further from here on. Shalini, ma'am, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible, sir? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, audible.
So, am I audible? Yes.
Yes, you are audible.
Good
ma'am.
evening, everyone. We know that, yes, so transforming the job seekers into job creators need to be initiated from the campus and is a need of the hour, and to shape a better tomorrow. On behalf of Incubation and Innovation Cell, Dayananda Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, myself, Dr. Shalini Suresh, would like to express our profound gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Lakshmi Jagannathan ma'am, for giving deep insights on how to launch a startup ecosystem in the campus. Ma'am, thank you so much for
My
taking
pleasure.
time off your busy schedule and enlightening all of us. We are elated to have associated with Derby Foundation for organizing this webinar. A special note of thanks to Ms. Bhavani, Community Manager, Derby Foundation, for the coordination and support. I thank our respected principal, DSEAC, Dr. Nagaraj Chennai sir, for the motivation and guidance. IQAC Coordinator, Professor Gurnath sir, heads of various departments, faculty members for the support provided to conduct this webinar. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Dharmendra Rao sir for the technical support. Also thanking the organizing team, Professor Colonel Prasanna Kumar sir, Dr. Srikantamurthy sir, Professor Ashwini Basavaraj, and all the cell members for the teamwork. Thank you all the students for your participation, and hope it was very much informative, and hope to see you all in the future events.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. As to
Yeah, thank you.
participants
So
are requested
feedback, yeah.
feedback. There's a feedback link which has been provided in the chat box. All of you are requested to give your feedback, and once you submit your feedback, you will receive the certificate of participation in today's program. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining, and thanks, Lakshmi ma'am, once again.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.
So students, please fill the feedback link before we close the session.